morning, everyone. Lead us in prayer.
Heavenly Father, we want to take a moment to pause and thank you for all that we're doing on a daily basis. As we enter today's meeting, we want to remember our families, anyone involved with the tragedy that's happened in the state of Texas, that we will come to comfort for these families and the loss that this nation has experienced. We pray that we can come to common sense ideas that will bring people away from politics and that compromise. We pray as always that you'll watch over and care for these families as they mourn the loss of their own, and we pray that we can stop senseless tragedies moving forward. We pray as always for the county, for the board that we work with on a daily basis as they continue to do what they need to do to keep us in alignment with the values that we all hold. We pray that you'll watch over and care for us as we work through our day to day, that you brought here safe, that we can have the ability to go home the same way. We pray that you'll watch over and care for us in everything that we do, that you'll bless the values that we have, forgive us of our sins, lead and guide us. In Christ's name.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lisa, would you do the roll call, please?
Commissioner Harville.
Here.
Commissioner Pitts.
Here.
Chairman Miller.
Here.
Commissioner Toller.
Here.
Commissioner Hill.
Having a quorum, I'll call the meeting to order. First thing I'd like to do as a board, and I'll grant prayer. Let's have a moment of silence for the people in Texas. Just a moment, please. Approval of minutes. We have minutes from the regular board meeting, May 13th, 2022. Everybody got a chance to look at those? Yes. Any additions or deletions?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Commissioner Harville.
Yes.
Commissioner Pitts.
Yes.
Chairman Miller.
Yes.
Commissioner Toller.
Yes.
Commissioner Polk.
Yes.
Next item, public comments. Committee reports.
Well, Max, I don't have a report, but I've got some things I'm working on, and I'll be bringing up in the future, okay? I'm gonna try to get some visitors to come and address us and inform us on some things, okay?
Good deal. Anybody else? Next item, building permits.
We have two. The first one is for parcel number 0702110. It's at 360 Spring Hill Lane in Cobden, for William Spray. It's a shed, no subdivision, no floodplain, recommended for approval. And the second one is parcel number 0115001242. It's at 255 Mount Hebron Road in McCanda. It's for Roger Phillips. It's a cabin, no subdivision, no floodplain, ready for approval.
questions or concerns?
Well, this one right here, it's more of a question. It says it's for a shed. And it says other portable. Would they have to have a building permit for portable? I'm assuming built somewhere else and grow onto that property.
I don't think so, but you're asking the wrong person.
Okay, I'm just curious.
That'd be a question for Jeff, but I mean, obviously, he's approved it, so it should be.
That's just a question. I don't have no problems with it.
Have a motion to approve the building permits.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Commissioner Harville,
Yes.
Commissioner Pitts,
Yes.
Chairman Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Toller,
Yes.
Mr. Gould.
Yes.
Moving on, old business resolution to approve compensation for certain elected officials. This is done prior to when we have an election for elected officials. It pertains pretty much to everyone. You've got a copy of it in front of you. It comparing to negotiations that we have been going through the past year on all the union contracts. It's basically as far as the people coming up for re-election would amount to a 3% per year raise. Equal out is obviously 12% over 4 years. That is what we're presenting here. I personally think that's fair, like I said, comparing to what we've done to other employees in the building. And again, that's for, it's not commissioners, that's for the elected office holders other than the sheriff. Also, as far as the commissioners are concerned, the way it's proposed there would be with their offices being staggered as far as elections, everybody getting on a 6-year term, which after this election, that'll be it, right? Everybody will be on a revolving 6-year term. Having said that, the way we have been doing, the commissioners have been getting a 2% raise. That's what this is proposing. And for the first 4 years, the 2%, and then the last 2 years, it would go to a 3% for the two seats that are coming up, and then we'll continue on from there. The only other different item on here, based on a mandate from the state of Illinois, it's not our doing, it's the state mandating this for all counties. The office of sheriff will be defined as 80% of the state's attorney's salary at a minimum. That would take effect December 1st. The state is reimbursing 66 2/3% of that. Again, that's mandated to us. We're not. I think that's it on there, right? Pretty much it.
Yep.
I will add to that, the state is already making preparations to reduce some of our and every other county's funds out of different pots to pay for this. So just be aware of that, that's coming. So it's not a free ride. So it will affect other areas of the county. But again, that's mandated by the state. So it is what it is. Anybody have any questions or different ideas or?
Any idea where you think the state will be hearing?
No, I don't
At
have
this
some,
time.
I don't have some yet. But they've already said that. So. I'll make a motion that we approve this resolution, compensation for certain elected officials as written.
Second.
Commissioner Harville,
Yes.
Commissioner Pitts,
Yes.
Chairman Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Gould.
Yes.
Item B, under old business, selection of RFP for pole barn. I think everybody's had a chance to look at the bids that we've received. Some of the commissioners submitted questions as we asked, which a couple of commissioners met with one of the this week and went over in detail his bid. Everything seems to look good. I don't have it in front of me, but the local bid was half or less than the other two bids that we received. Of course, this is for the building that we'll go over here on the concrete slab that we've had there for several years. My suggestion is that we approve the local bid after Mr. Plott was questioned on his bid and explained the bid a little bit more in detail. Anybody have any questions or concerns about those?
When would construction begin on that?
What did you say, Angie?
He's told us that he will begin in mid-August and be completed by mid-September, but he was explaining to us during the meeting that I think he had a job that may have got canceled or pushed back, and so he's moving up one of his projects that was for June and July, so he may be able to start sooner, but at the latest, mid-August.
Did he say how long, from the beginning to the end, how long do you think? That
About a month.
1 month?
Yes.
So I make a motion, you approve the bid from Plott Construction, Chris Plott, for the construction of the storage.
Who first?
Pardon?
Need a second. Second.
Or second.
Yeah. So Max was one. Commissioner Harville, Chairman Miller,
Yes,
Commissioner Toller,
everybody had a chance to look at the bill there. Any questions?
I approve motion to.
Got to pay the bills.
Commissioner Harville,
Yes.
Commissioner Pitts, Chairman Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Toller,
Yes.
Commissioner Gould.
Item B and C, auditors were supposed to be here this morning, but obviously they're not, so
No, they're not quite finished. It's under their final review with their higher ups, so.
we'll table item B and C as far as acceptance of Union County audit and Union County circuit clerk audit. Next item, item D, Union County Hospital update. Mr. Brockes, are you ready?
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for letting me come out this morning. I promised in previous meetings I want to come out and talk about what's going on at the hospital, give you updates is what's happening in Union County around healthcare. We went through a surge of the COVID-19 virus, started back in December and peaked on January 21st. The hospital was overwhelmed with the number of patients we had from our area. We had peak census of 17. We were caring for patients that needed transferred to other facilities, but could not be transferred due to lack of beds in 5 states. We actually had patients that were on ventilators that probably belonged to other facilities. We called 70 hospitals in 5 other states, and we're unable to find transfers for those patients. It did peak on January the 21st, and throughout the last couple of months has been in decline. Unfortunately, as of this morning, I have to report that we are back at high transmission in Union County, which means we are starting to see additional cases again. We hope that this remains controlled, but at this point in time, we're monitoring the situation. Aside that, other things that happened at the hospital in the 6 months that I've been there, things that we've been working on diligently. In the emergency room, we did purchase an ultrasound unit and trained our physicians on how to do ultrasound. So it's available 24/7 if necessary for patients coming into the emergency room. So that would be beneficial to the patients that we serve. We're also going to be locking down the emergency room. We are in the process of installing a system that keeps it locked 24/7. This is so that patients cannot accidentally meander out of the hospital, but also so that people cannot accidentally meander into the emergency room, which it should be kept private. We also see a high number of mental health patients, as you can imagine, in the area. And so therefore it helps keep them safe by not giving them an opportunity to escape or leaving them there without being treated. So we'll have that project completed by the end of June. So looking forward to that. We also received a gift from the hospital district last month of $115,000. We were very thankful to them for the consideration of that. We have used that money at this point in time to purchase new hospital beds for our inpatient patient unit. Those will be here in October. So we're excited to be able to have that going on. And we also took a portion of that money and hired an architect to start on a 15-year master plan for the hospital. They're probably reaching out to some of the members of our community, including members of this board members, to ask their input about the hospital and what they would like to see there in the future. But the hospital, as you know, has parts of it built in 1950, the newest part being built in 2007. So it's time to start talking about what this hospital will look like over the next 15 years and what the buildings will need to be either maintained or to be rebuilt. So we're pretty excited about getting that project started as well. It's also going to include a relocation of the helipad. When that's completed, it'll be closer to the emergency room, won't require the ambulance transfer that we have today. So that'll relieve the burden on several parties there as well. So those are things we're working on from that perspective. Outside of that, we have changed our hours up in the convenient care, trying to become more efficient in our operations. We've been talking to partners such as the Federally Qualified Health Center on our property, Rural Health, about opportunities to work together to improve the county's healthcare economics. And we've been reaching out to others. Right now, probably the most prominent, we are working with the cardiology group out of Southeast Health to start doing echocardiograms and EKGs at our hospital on their behalf. They would then be able to read those. Today, they don't have the ability to do that. So right now, patients travel for those exams over to Cape, and we're hoping to keep that work local in the future. We believe partnerships like this are going to be key to the hospital's long-term sustainability. So overall, it's been a busy 6 months. The hospital is very stable, is doing very well at this point in time, and is really continuing to invest in its community. We've been attending golf outings, having Haven, having discussions with them about how we can help at the park, and those types of things as well. So it's a good time of growth and prosperity, and we just hope to continue to be able to serve the county as best as we can. I'll stop there and ask any questions, and answer any questions or concerns that anybody might have.
10 or 15 years ago, there was a group of individuals locally trying to get a dialysis unit in Union County versus having a unit. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but the census numbers I heard is that there was a huge demand for it because here in the southern part of this area, you go to Cape. If you're in the northern part, you go to Marion or Carbondale, which occupies the extra drive for somebody that has to sit there for 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing it up, Mr. Gould. I've actually not to come up with something that has been talked about, so that's something I will look into. Whereas there are several ways the hospital couldn't provide dialysis itself because you nephrologists. And that's probably what's holding, my guess, 10 or 15 years ago is what's holding it back. Is nephrologist has to be able to come on site from time to time, which is physician practices for kidneys. So, but I will look further into that, because there's space at the hospital to do that. So if we could find a partnership with one of the other hospitals in the region that would be willing to help us with that, that's something we can do.
Because there is a huge, from what I understand, a huge demand.
Diabetes, as you all know, is very prevalent in our community. People with diabetes tend to have significant kidney function issues and need dialysis. And so you're right, there is a large number of patient population in our Union County area. Thank you for that comment.
What, discounting the COVID numbers as far as census, how is the census running otherwise on
Yeah.
day to day?
Yeah, since COVID, we have occasional COVID patients at this point in time. We've really focused on three things over the 6 months that I've been here. One of those is surgery. How can we improve our surgical services? So we've been working with Dr. Adi and doing outreach. We're also looking to recruit a second general surgeon. And we're looking for a general surgeon that will live and will actually live in our community. Looking for somebody who wants to live in the Anne Jones Care community and be here all the time. So that's one of the things we're working on. The two things we've had great success with so far are our inpatient census. So we have decreased the number of transfers out of emergency room to other hospitals. We've done this by increasing the nursing education, by purchasing additional equipment. We've actually been able to double what we call medical inpatient census at our hospital. So we're transferring less, but probably the most prominent and most successful program we have right now is called a swing bed program. And swing bed is when somebody has a hip replaced or a heart attack and they go to another hospital, but they've been there for a few days. That hospital wants to move them to another hospital because they have other patients coming in, and we are what's called swing bed facility. Those patients come to us, can stay up for 21 days and get physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, IV therapy. That census has quadrupled. So we have in the past we've had 1 to 2 patients. We now have 5 or 6 swing bed patients. Overall, in the past, we've had 3 to 4 patients a day. We're now averaging around 8 to 10 patients a day. So we are seeing a significant increase in our census, and that's great, because that means people are, even if they're leaving our community for what we call tertiary services, they're coming home for the basic services. And we believe in that because care close to home is proven through several research that when you're close to home, you get better faster. And it's really affected having your family available. You'd be surprised how much having your child be able to come visit you or your spouse be able to visit you makes a difference. So all our census has gone very well. It's improved greatly.
You mentioned the fact that the community care hours have changed.
Yes.
Okay. You know what those are now?
Yeah. We posted on Facebook for the hour Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 6, and then 8:30 to 5 on Saturday and Sunday. And that was done after looking at a lot of data that told us when people were most likely to use the community care.
And some kind of a partnership with Rural Health, possibly.
Well, the partnership, which is always right, we're already a partner. We're already partnered with Rural Health today. But what we have to do now is really take that partnership to the level of, we need specialists, they need specialists. How do we determine what those specialists are? And how do we better serve their patients? As somebody knows, they have a lot of patients, and several of the patients do leave the county for care. So it's now an opportunity to sit down and figure out why are they leaving the county for care, and how do we make it possible for them to stay in the county for care? So that's the discussions that we're having now.
Anybody else?
You are right about the patients being a lot closer to home. That helps their well-being so much and their outlook on things, and it does help tremendously.
Absolutely.
It really does.
Well, we appreciate your report. Hope you'll come back and continue to update us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
As I've said before, I think a lot of people in our community really don't realize what an asset having a hospital is here. If we didn't have it, what kind of shape we would be in.
I should thank you, Max, because the radio station is going to start allowing me to do the 15-minute updates just like you do. So appreciate that too.
Thank
Have
you
a great
very
day.
much. Appreciate it. Last item, approval of resolution for sale of delinquent property held by the county treasurer. Again, this is, as I like to call it, housekeeping. We do this every year this time. So you don't have anything to add?
No, it's just another sales bid or something.
I make a motion we approve the resolution for sale of delinquent property held by the county trustee. Second.
Commissioner Harville,
Yes.
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Chairman Miller?
Yes,
Commissioner Toller?
Yes.
Commissioner Gould?
that's all of the items on the agenda. We do need to go into executive session to discuss pending litigation, and employees. Make a motion that we go to executive session.
Second.
Commissioner Harville,
Yes.
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Chairman Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Toller?
Yes.